a new addition this week is going to be the DLE tier list. All right.
Oh no. We're gonna get
Yes.
the comments. I'm not ready.
Oh,
No.
oh!
Oh god, it's gonna be terrible.
Blame Rye. Blame Rye. Hey everybody, what's up? Circus here, coming at you with this week's Power Rankings video. Of course, I have Kamel here with me because he is my partner in crime when it comes to the Power Rankings. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I am doing good, and now we are gonna change things up a little bit on the Power Rankings, so we hope you enjoy the way we do things. Let us know.
Yeah, and this will be the last Power Rankings, I think, of this meta, as you want to call it, because the new box is out, Photon of Galaxy, right? And
there's a lot of new cards, a lot of new decks should be entering meta because of it, so I am very excited for next week.
Hopefully we'll have more than just 3 decks all the time, so let's get into it. If you don't know what we do here, every week we track tournaments and see how decks perform in those tournaments, and then we assign them points based on how they finish, and then we rank them. It's pretty simple. So if a deck gets a first place finish, it gets 6 points. A second place finish is 4 points. A top 4 is 2 points, and a top 8 is a single point. Now the tournaments all have to follow a common format. That way we can compare and contrast the results. So that format needs to be rounds of Swiss into a top cut. It has to be a single deck format and a 7-card side where they can side in a skill. And the tournaments that met those requirements this week were quite a few. The Battle Phase series, the Meta series, and then is it the Meme Maker Cup or Meme Maker Cup?
I don't know.
I've always seen that. Meme Maker and the Dark World Legacy tournament. So there's quite a bit this week.
Yeah, and as always, if you'd like to get guaranteed access to all Battle Phase events, except Battle Phase Prime, that is our new little testing thing. It's a $2 entry fee, $2 entry fee. So if you're interested, it's on Mondays, so check it out. Other than that, all the Battle Phase tournaments are free to enter, and you get guaranteed access with a subscription or a channel membership.
All right, we're going to get right into the top 5 here, and we'll start talking about number 5, which is Invoke Neos this week. Can you believe that? Invoke Neos, look at that. 2 tournament wins. I'm very surprised by that.
Yeah, Invoke Neos has been falling off quite a bit lately. It has been more vulnerable than some of these other decks that were once pretty oppressive. Invoke Neos relying on a lot of back row now. It is not nearly as consistent. However, scooping up 2 tournament wins on the week is pretty good. Restar winning Battle Phase Prime.
I did not want to pay him for that.
This is a good week.
I just want to go on record for that. Now, he's one of our mods, in case you guys didn't know. He's one of our moderators. Good friend.
Restar is also a very skilled player, so no surprise there. But this deck list has had to go through quite some changes. Look at that Book of Moon having to make use of multiple flip downs, and his backer looks kind of wonky there. Kind of has a lot of
a little bit of everything, right? A little bit of everything.
Just kind of for whatever scenario. But a 5% conversion rate. This deck is just, it's where it's at. Very low participation.
Well, I was gonna say it's not like one of the top tier decks, but it's not really like a rogue deck status either. It's just it still has like that cult following. You know what I mean?
It's still it's a meta deck. It may not be as
2
consistent.
tournament wins. That's pretty good. Yeah, that's more than another deck that scored much higher, which we'll get to. You'll see. So 2 tournament victories. Yeah. All right. Let's move on to number 4. Thunder Dragons. Look at that.
That is right. Now, I have been giving Thunder Dragons a lot of crap these past weeks, but they have finally snagged the top 5 spot in the power rankings after however many weeks.
Yeah.
And a lot of the decks that are doing very well are utilizing Charge of the Light Brigade. Again, the small spell engine makes Xyz summoning a lot easier because you have a lot more ranks and levels that you can bring out. 4 with the Lupines, 5 with the Dragon Darks, 6 with the Roars. There's always something you can do. So good to see Thunder Dragons here finally. 208 representation, 4% conversion rate to the top 32. So that is what it's going to take for them to get to the top 5.
If 208 of us play at 4%, we'll get through.
4%. You just need 4% to get through if you have 200 people playing and get into the power rankings.
No tournament victories. That's another point. Yeah. There's another deck that did the same thing further up the list. But check that out. He's playing the Jack Black card there, the Melody of Awakening Dragon. Is that what it's called?
Oh yeah, I believe that card is absolutely necessary in thinning your deck. It works in tandem with Charge of the Light Brigade so well. Your Dragon Duel and Levineer are basically set up from turn 1 if you see those cards.
Right. So Thunder Dragon, a fan favorite. We'll see if it continues to have a place in the upcoming meta. I think it should. It should.
I think it should too.
All right, number 3. This was the one. This is the one. It's in third place. Scored a lot of points, but no tournament victories. Are you ready?
What is it?
Be? Noble Knights.
Oh! What? Noble Knights do not score a tournament win, and that is right.
And they're not in first place. They're in third place this week. It's the first time in a month.
Noble Knights, if tournaments this week, Noble Knights did get very robbed at key points when they were in the finals. You can see their Battleface Prime. We just talked about it. Restart beat Noble Knights in the finals to win Battleface Prime. Battleface Rising Sun, DDD defeated 3 Noble Knight players in a row to win the tournament. Absolutely insane. Noble Knights, this is not their week. People are truly playing against them, modifying their decks just to beat them. I think if other decks run balance, that gives them a very good chance against Noble Knights. Just being able to see things like Cosmic Cyclone, Fiendish Chain, and Canadia all in your opening hand. Like, those are the things that you need to see in order to shut down Noble Knights completely. That's what I saw in Battlephase Rising Sun as
Yeah, they're one of those decks, if they go first, you got to have something to take out the back row because you know they're going to have a set karma cut or something like that, you know? You're always playing into that, so you got to be ready for it. And a lot of people complain about this deck, but you know what? It has a huge weakness. It's called going second.
Yeah, I have to say that that is true. I saw that on display in full force on Thursday. Noble Knights simply cannot play when they have to play into Cosmic Cyclone Floodgate or Cosmic Cyclone any flip down. It is just too much for them to deal with, and they don't play those type of defensive options. And the more decks that can put out that crazy amount of disruption on turn 1, the better matchups. The better their Noble Knight matchup is going to be, I should say.
And this one's actually playing Hey Trunade, which you don't see a whole lot. I mean, sometimes you'll see like a Cosmic or something like that, but a Hey Trunade, this guy is serious about him going second.
Yeah, he does not want to be playing into any of that stuff.
All right, so let's move on to the second place deck. I think by announcing the second place deck, you're going to know who first place is. It's kind of like the Miss America pageant, right? They always announce the runner-up, and then you're like, oh, we know who the winner is. So this is just like that. And in second place, now, third place was 35 points. Second place, 38 points with 2 tournament victories. Look at that.
Yeah, man. Desperado taking second place with 2 tournament wins. Like you said, a little bit less representation than Noble Knights, but not much has changed from these Desperado lists, man. This one is not even running Quarantine in the main deck at all.
No.
That is something we've seen from a lot of Desperado lists to deal with Blue Eyes and some Noble Knights. But this
He's
deck
doing
not
Necro Valley instead, I think.
Yeah, they're probably playing them in the side deck instead, you know. But yeah, this list has not changed whatsoever. Yeah. This is probably going to be the final iteration of Desperado.
There we go. Yeah, Desperado. I don't know. We keep saying it's on its way out. I don't think it is. Is it? Is it on its way out?
You know,
we always say that. We're always like, oh yeah, it's the third deck out of all 3 of them and beat Noble Knights this week on the power rankings. I don't know, man.
Well, I think you know, on its way out has meant make room for other decks. Right, because Desperado was just on top, not letting anything else in. So I think that's what people have come to see has happened with Desperado.
They want Desperado out of the meta, but I think it's gonna be like Invoke Neos or Invoker or whatever. People are gonna find a way to play it.
Yeah, people really want Desperado dead. Probably one of the most requested decks to get nerfed. But I don't know, guys.
Those built-in pot of greeds, man. You know,
too good.
It's too good. Why would you not play that, right? Crazy. All right, let's move on to number 1. You probably already know what it is because we haven't mentioned it yet, but We have a new
Don't do it to
champion,
him.
and here it is. Konami couldn't be happier. Seto Kaiba couldn't be happier. And that's Blue Eyes.
Blue Ice. And yeah, I am not surprised in the least. And it does look
five
tournament wins.
victories.
Yeah, this is absolutely nuts. This is after 2 weeks after it got its new support and the structure deck. In 275, it was the most popular deck this week, and it has been ramping up like that for several weeks. 4% conversion rate. That is absolutely insane when you think about it.
Last week and this week, exact same representation as Noble Knights. I'll show you again. 275 for Noble Knights. Wow. 275 for Blue Eyes.
Okay.
Yeah, they're tied, but look at that, 5 tournament victories. So they're doing much better in tournaments now. People, obviously that means they're getting more people are playing the same amount of people are playing the deck. Last week it was 257 for representation. This week it's 275. So more people are playing it, and they're getting better at it.
Yeah, I think definitely one thing that has been seen the most from the Blue Eyes play and Blue Eyes deck is how consistent the lists are and how much late game play Blue Eyes has due to how well you're able to cycle your resources and pull from the deck during the early game, so you have just more stuff to play with than your opponent generally. You know, mitigating your resources for your discard traps. And yeah, you always have something to do. And that's something a lot of decks, you know, a lot of the other tournament decks, so not always the case, you know. Noble Knights, you get shut down, you can't play. Blue Eyes, you figure something out. All your cards in your hand are typically playable.
All right, yeah, and if you notice, this one's got 2 Book of Moon in the main deck, and Battle Face Sunday's going on right now as we record this, and we're seeing that Book of Moon is probably going to be the most important card in your deck moving forward, or one of them, besides the core of your deck. I mean, the staple, like the traps and the spells and stuff, Book of Moon's going to be like your #1 card.
Yeah, now that we have access to cards like Abyss Dweller and Steel Swarm Roach in the game, these are cards that have like devastating effects that you can stop, you know, during the draw and standby phases by flipping them down, or just flipping them down to make sure that they cannot activate their effects on, you know, next turn or whatever. And Book of Moon does that better than Floodgate, better than Canadia. You can activate it any phase, whenever, and Blue Eyes take advantage of that a lot. You know, of course, Steel Swarm Roach, level 5 or higher monsters can activate their effects. You can't have that. Abyss Dweller negating graveyard effects. You can't have that.
Get them out of here.
You cannot have those Xyz monsters with their controlling effects existing face up, so you got to Book of Moon them.
Exactly. So yeah, Blue Eyes, the new champion. I can't believe that.
I'm not surprised.
We knew it was going to happen eventually, right? It had to happen.
It had to happen, of course.
I wonder why people got. Is it just because it's an anime thing? Because when you look at it, Noble Knights is a cheaper deck to get into, but Blue Eyes is more expensive, but maybe a little bit easier to play.
I think Blue Eyes is easier for people to wrap their heads around.
Yeah.
You know, the gameplay loop is a lot simpler. It's a lot clearer, you know, just I'm gonna pitch a stone, the Spirit of White banishes back row, Blue Eyes, beat him up. You know, then I got my discard traps. You know, that's it.
That's with Noble Knights, you got to get out a flow chart. You know, nobody likes to play from a flow chart.
And you know, Noble Knights is a big deck, a lot of tech cards. There's a lot of variation in the list. You know, there's a lot of decision making. You know, not to say that you know that keeps people away from it because they can't make decisions, but a lot more goes into it. Into playing optimally with Noble Knights and playing optimally with Blue Eyes, I think.
Oh my God, you just upset the comment section. All right. So this is the last week of the power rankings for January. By the time you see this, it's actually going to be February, but we're filming this on the last day of January. So we're going to do the monthly power rankings. So this past month of January, check it out, Kamel. Noble Knights just ran the table, except this last week here. But if you remember, they had a week where they won by like 45 points or 43 points or something like that. And Blue Eyes was not in the first week of this month's power.
They were not in the first week, and they only made it in at the end of the second week.
Right? So they didn't score a lot of points. So they shot up definitely in the last 2 weeks. Definitely.
And that's good, man. 2 weeks seeing 107 points. Thunder Dragons were on there all those weeks. All those players. Thunder Dragons were one of the top represented decks of the month. 46 points. That's it.
No,
Thunder Dragon, this was not their month at all, but I think as a focus switches to Xyz summoning, I hope that this deck will do a lot better because there's a lot of players for it. It's not doing well.
so just to let people know how I calculated this, basically you had to be a top 5 to make this list. So I took all the top 5s and then tallied them up. So if you didn't make top 5, get out of here. All right. So, but look, Goki and Ritual Beast both making it into the top.
Yeah, and I think those are the two, like, if they're not on the tier list, those are what we call like the in between the rogues. If they're lower than that, then they're rogue.
Right. They're just in that gray area. But funny thing, you should bring up tier list because a new addition this week is going to be the DLE tier list. All right.
Oh, no.
Yes.
The comments. I'm not ready.
Oh,
no.
Oh!
Oh, God. It's going to be terrible.
Blame Rye. Blame Rye.
Oh, my gosh. Here it is.
Rye's like, Circus, you got to do it. You got to put a tier list in there. All right. So here's what we do as a tier list. So basically, we're doing it more based on the points. So since the first 3 decks were so close together, we can't really say they're any different from each other. And then Thunder Dragon and Neos were both in that same area. And then Cyber Dragons, I'll show you the list now that we're done, was right under there in a tier 3 position. But that's how we view the tier list right now. And I'll show you the overall scores here in a second. But there's our
and just for me personally to talk about that, I have to agree with this tier list. This is indicative of all of the results that I've seen. Any battle phase that you watch or moderate, I'd say that this is an accurate tier list. Cyber Dragons, people may argue about Cyber Dragons, but Cyber Dragons in a top 32, they are the next most represented deck after these, or a deck like actually no, yeah, that's right. Cyber Dragons comes like right after Invoke Neos.
Yeah, we'll take a look at right now. We'll take a look at the actual points. We wanted to do some drama with you guys, but here's the overall for the whole week. As you can see, Cyber Dragons came in 6th with 9 points. So after that, just kind of they're one-ofs and stuff like that.
Baby, that tournament win.
So our tier list is just based on this data. We're just kind of grouping them by points. So obviously the top 3 were real close. Thunder Dragons, Invoke Neos, and then Cyber Dragon.
Yep.
So that's how we do it. There's no opinion pieces. There's none of us saying, well, I feel that DDD is a stronger deck than Cyber Dragons, or if played optimally, sir.
If you think DDD is a stronger deck than Cyber Dragons, get in there. Get on the power rankings.
Yeah. Prove it with data. So, okay, I'll show you the tier list one more time because people love that kind of stuff. So there it is. And that's why we do it the way we do it.
DLE power rankings now with added tier list.
Yes. 100% more tier list than before.
100%.
All right, guys. I hope you agree, and if you don't, put it in the comments below. But we're not going to argue because it's just data. There's no opinion here. This is not.
Oh no, we should argue this week and then no week afterwards. let's give it to them this week. This one.
And this is not predictive. This is what happened last week. Now this might change going into the week, right? Because other tier lists are predictive, they say. So this is just.
Oh, well, people are gonna be like, you told us not to get Cyber Dragons, but now you say Cyber Dragons tier 3.
They were tier 3 last week.
Oh god.
All right, we're gonna get out of here. You should get in the Discord because it's free. The tournaments are free, except Battle Phase Prime and Damage Step. Those are our pay-to-play tournaments, and they're a lot of fun. The prizes are bigger because there's an entry fee, basically. So we have 5 pay tournaments a month, but then there's 25 free ones. So plenty of place for you to get in there and play. You can see Kamel on Thursday mornings doing Battle Phase of the Rising Sun. You can see me on Saturday nights doing the new player stream. It's a lot of fun. We just hang out and talk and play cards. It's a lot of fun. So get in there, and we'll see you guys next time. I'm Circus. That's Kamel.
Thank you guys for coming.
All right. See ya.